All right, let's see the song. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnupad Pranamahamsa Bhagavad-gītā Ashtotar the Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavad-gītā Ashtotar the Srimad is Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavani Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad-gītā Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Okay. So, we're in the introduction here. And we're on page 5, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you did
the verses at the top of page 5.
You got down to, I think, the second or the third paragraph. The third paragraph.
Third paragraph. Okay. On this 11th day of February, 2025 in San Diego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. All right. Did you want to sit on the floor, or you'll be able to sit on it? Okay, so then you move over a little. Yeah, we have more seats on this side. No, women here, men over here. You can sit on the bench, or you can sit on a chair, or you can sit. We can set up another. Okay, that's good. All right, very good. So we are on page 5 of the hardback Bhagavad-gītā. In the introduction, we recently completed our 5th or 6th reading of the Bhagavad-gītā. And we'll be reading from the second paragraph here in the page 5. After hearing the Bhagavad-gītā from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. Every living being is Brahman, but the Supreme Living Being, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the Supreme Brahman. Param Dhamma means that he is the supreme rest or abode of everything. Pavitram means that he is pure, untainted by material contamination. Purusham means that he is the supreme enjoyer. Shashvatam, eternal. Divyam, transcendental. Adidevam, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajam, the unborn, and Vibhum, the greatest. Now one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by way of flattery. But Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of the Bhagavad-gītā, substantiates these praises in the next verse when he says that Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead not only by himself, but by authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasadeva. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he, Arjuna, accepts whatever Krishna says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etad ritam manye. I accept everything you say to be true. Arjuna also says that the personality of the Lord is very difficult to understand, and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. This means that the Lord cannot even be known by personalities greater than human beings. So how can a human being understand Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa without becoming his devotee? Okay, I'll read one paragraph and we'll have a little comment, discussion. Therefore, the Bhagavad-gītā should be taken up in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality, or even a very great personality. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So according to the statements of the Bhagavad-gītā, or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad-gītā, we should at least theoretically accept Śrī Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad-gītā. Unless one reads the Bhagavad-gītā in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand the Bhagavad-gītā because it is a great mystery. Om jnana timirandasya jnanandana shalakaya chakshu unmilitam mena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So please excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, so it's time out. Very nice to see Paneshwari here tonight. Special. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I have an introductory question for you, if it's okay. Or do you want to get going?
Well, let me say a few things, then you can ask your question.
Okay. Audible.
So one thing that I was thinking of as I was reading this is that Prabhupada points out that, first of all, this verse that introduces this, Padam Brahma, Padam Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhagavān, this is Arjuna's response to Krishna speaking the 4 essential verses of the Bhagavad-gītā, which I think were also quoted before here, or at least referred to. So those verses appear in chapter 10, texts 8 through 11. And just like we have in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we have 4 essential verses. You know, the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. So there's a similar thing here in the Bhagavad-gītā, and I'm just going to share those with you because that's what Arjuna is responding to. At the bottom of page 4 and the top of page 5, these verses are his response, and the whole thing is an important lesson. So Krishna says in text 8 of chapter 10, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattak sarvam pravartate iti madva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanditaha. So, first he's saying, I am the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this worship me with all their hearts. So this is, when I read this, when I think about this verse, I think of the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means the ultimate knowledge. It's not an accident that Prabhupada's name is Bhakti Vedanta. His name means the end of all knowledge is Bhakti. And that's a constant discussion, if you will, or argument between the Bhaktas and the Mayavadis and the Gyanis. But it's clear in the Bhagavad-gītā that the whole thing culminates in Bhakti. But so Krishna is saying there, I am that personality, I am the source of everything. He says it from two perspectives. One from his, I am the source of everything, and from your perspective, everything has emanated from me. Because we don't know Krishna, but we know that there's a world out here. Where did it all come from? It came from Krishna. The wise who understand this or have faith in this, they worship me with all their heart. How do they do it? Next verse. Matchitta matgata prana bodhayantak parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti chadamanti cha. So right away, there's a bhakti element there. It's not just gyan, it's not just merging into the Brahman or anything. Because the second half of this verse talks about how the devotees enjoy. They enjoy tushyanti chadamanti. So what he says there, beginning, matchitta, they place their mind on me. And this indeed is the whole essence of yoga, is linking the mind with the Supreme. And in Bhakti Yoga we understand that Supreme is a Supreme Person, as Prabhupada emphasizes here. So then, and if there's a person there, then how do we link? Through service. Gata prana means that their life force and all of the senses and the energy and the mind and everything, they link to me systematically according to the instructions of the Shastra and the great acharyas and realized souls who've come before us. So this is what Bhagavad-gītā is all about. Bodhayantak parasparam. And then the next thing, they come together. Parasparam means they gather, just like we're gathering here. And they glorify me, you see, together. The essence of that is Sankirtan. I chant, you hear, you chant, I hear. We can bodhayantak parasparam. And by doing that, katayantas, by kati, I mean sound vibration, words, glorifying Krishna. Nityam, always. Tushyanti chadamanticha. And so tushyanti means they become very satisfied and they enjoy transcendental happiness. This is the source of transcendental happiness. Now what does Krishna do on his side? Then he says, oh, and I respond to this. You see, because he's there in the heart. He knows exactly what we're doing. So he says, this is a very famous verse. Tesham satata yuktanam bhujatam priti purvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upiyanti te. So we should always remember that we're not alone here in this body. If we know, the A of the ABCs, we're the spirit, and we have a body. We're not the body, we're pure spirit, eternal. Nobody dies. Nobody is born. The body is born, the body dies, but we're not the body, we're the soul. So, it's describing there, Tesham, to them who are linked to me that way, who are always linked to me through bhakti, satati yuktanam. Yuktanam and yoga, they're related. It means to link. How? Bhajadam priti purvakam, worshipping me with love. Then I give them, the dami buddhi yogantam, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. And that the first element as intelligence is, yeah, let me go to the temple tonight. I mean, I just, go to, I point out, you can go down 50 feet, down toward the corner, and there'll be a nice bar there. So you made the decision to come here instead of there. Everyone is getting their just desserts, as we say. So, the Dhammi Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenama, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me. Now that intelligence comes in several ways. It comes through the books, the Shastra. So important. What is the Shastra? The Shastra is primarily the words of God. Now the words of God also may be repeated, like Srila Prabhupada, he wrote this, and so much of this is English. Now, originally Krishna didn't speak it in English, he spoke in Sanskrit. But it's the same meaning. And this the very important point that the real acharya or the guru, what does acharya mean? Acharya is based on the word achar, which means behavior. So an acharya is a guru certainly, but he has these three characteristics. He knows the Shastra, he or she knows the Shastra, knows the scripture, lives by it, and teaches it to others. If he tries to teach without himself living by it, then it won't have any impact. So the Tesham Bhagavatam Priti Dadami Buddhi Yoga Yena Mamapi Antite. And then the last verse is the culmination. Krishna is still saying, well, what he's doing for us. Tesham evana kampartam ahama jnana jam tamaha nashiyam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena vasvata. That out of compassion for them, for those who are trying to restore their connection to me through bhakti, I, in the heart again, as the super soul, I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna is not a passive observer of this. He's a very active. He makes the effort to come down and speak the Bhagavad-gītā and to arrange for the Pandavas to become leaders, because he knows that without dharma, without real dharma, then human life is no better than animal life. And his praja, we are all his children, the children of God. There used to be a big organization called Children of God. And this is really the children of God. So we are wayward souls. We're suffering here, forgetting him and forgetting our real home in the spiritual world. So once in a day of Brahma, who remembers approximately how long that is? How is it? Yes. Did you say million? Billion. 8.64 billion years. 8,640,000,000 years. That's 12 hours for Brahma, I think. Oh no, that's I think 24 hours. In any case, once in a day, Krishna comes personally to the earth. So now just think of how fortunate we are. I mean, 5,000 years is not even the snap of a finger compared to 8,640,000,000 years. But here we are, practically contemporaries. And what's most amazing is that he came later, only 540 years now, as Lord Chaitanya. And because Krishna says at the end, Prabhupada makes this point, Krishna says, you have to surrender. Sarvadam jaja mame kam sharanam bhaja. Then I will, aham tvam savapapa yomoksha, I will destroy your sins, and like that. Lord Chaitanya didn't say that. First surrender, then I'll give you the Hare Krishna mantra. No way. Anyone, anytime, any place, anywhere, you can chant this Hare Krishna mantra and be benefited. It's especially suitable for the age of Kali. And that's why we have these two amazing verses. Well, there's three actually. Two as the first one, as everyone knows, who's been around a while. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalo nasjeva, nasjeva, nasjeva gatiranyata. This is practically the impetus verse for the whole movement. Lord Chaitanya said, this is from the Brihanaradiya Puran, when he met the Prakashananda Saraswati in Benares. He had thousands of disciples, Mayavadi disciples. And Lord Chaitanya, the only available sannyas initiation was in Mayavad. So he was initiated by a Mayavadi guru. So, but he went to Benares, he didn't sit there and just read the Vedanta Sutra and try to merge into Brahman. He was dancing and chanting in the streets of Benares. And thousands of people were, following. But they said, this is not, what sannyasis do, Prakashananda. Come on, let's discuss the Vedanta Sutra. So, he listened to them, but they were off. They're trying. The absolute truth is impersonal. No. So he explained the Vedanta Sutra and he converted them, Prakashananda, and then the way it was another. If you can convert to leader, everyone follows. So he made them all into bhaktas, because he said, my spiritual master told me, this is. I don't know if he really did, Ishvara Puri, but he said he did, that you're not qualified to study the Vedanta Sutra. Really? Nimai Pandit? He was defeated all these great. And anyway, he said that. He said, you just chant Hare Krishna. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama. He quoted this verse. So that's why I chant and dance, like that. And then they said, well, can you explain the Vedanta Sutra? And he did, and he explained it as it's devotional, mood. So the point I was trying to make is that Krishna is rooting for us. He's with us. He's giving us good instruction. There's this old thing, it's in the Upanishads, also in the Bhagavatam, of the two birds in the tree. Body is like a tree, in one sense, And within and you visualize there's a tree, and there's two birds in the tree. There's some fruit in the tree. So one of the birds, the living entity bird, soul, is trying his best to enjoy those fruits, getting the fruits. The other bird is just watching. The other bird is the super soul, you see. And Krishna is observing everything we do, and he's making an effort to give us good instruction, but in our conditioned state, we don't hear, you see. We need some intervention from outside. That's why it's important to come in touch with a realized soul, realized guru. Now, Prabhupada, when he was on the planet, of course, he was, preaching like anything, and he was able to spread all over the movement, all over the world. But following his spiritual master's order, both to come to America and to write, he gave us all of these books. So just as when we read the Sanskrit, now some of you may think, well, all right, I wish to finish with the Sanskrit and get into the English so we can understand. But the Sanskrit has a special power to it. It's the original words and the language. And so Prabhupada made the effort to give us the transliteration, we can learn how to pronounce, and the word-by-word meanings, which are very essential. And, of course, the translation and the commentary, which is also based on previous acharyas. So we're actually hearing and, exposed here to Krishna's original words and to the explanation from his pure devotee. So there's tremendous potency there. And just one other point here, and then we'll have questions or we can go on. Just as Arjuna, he says, it's not just you're telling me this. Ahustram Sarve, all of the rishis, Devarshi Narada is telling it, Asita Deva, these are recognized acharyas in time. Vyasadev, and then you're telling me the same thing. And then this phrase is so important. Sarvameta mrita manya yangmang vadasi Keshava. Everything you say, O Keshava, I accept as the truth. You see? And Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidudevan Adanava, even the demigods and the demons, none of them can really understand, the depth of what you're saying. So, but this mood, as Prabhupada says, this is how we should receive the Bhagavad-gītā. With at least try to put aside our doubts and to accept what Krishna is saying and the explanation of his pure devotee. And then we can really make a connection with Krishna and be inspired to pursue our career in Bhakti Yoga. So, any discussion on these points? Nelson has something. Go ahead.
No, you had a question.
All right, Hare Krishna. What was the verse that the term Krishna consciousness came from?
I'm not sure how that relates to what I was saying, but I guess...
No, it was just a question that I was wanting to ask earlier.
Okay, well, it's all one. Krishna, this is a very beautiful verse composed by Ramananda Roy and included in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's why somebody think Rupa Goswami wrote it, but he didn't, he concluded. Krishna bhakti dasabhavitam ati kriyatam yadikatopi labhyate tatta laurim abhimurlame kalam janmakoti sukatayana labhyate. So this first line of this verse is Prabhupada's inspiration for the phrase Krishna consciousness. Krishna bhakti rasa. Now this rasa we just read actually in the last session. Prabhupada goes through the 5 main rasas here. Rasa is a humor, is a feeling that you have. It could be a negative feeling, but it's usually the positive feelings here, of love or interaction and pleasure from association with something. It could be the perverted reflection of the Shanta Ras. Shanta Ras is here, a devotee may be in a passive state. In other words, what's the characteristics of someone in Shanta Ras? You're always thinking of Krishna, and you're completely blissed out just by thinking of Krishna, and you haven't got any taste for material life. You see? But you're not actually doing anything. If Krishna, he may pick up the flute, and the flute then, has some service, but basically just waiting. So then there's the act of service, or dasya ras, and sakya ras, which is friends. We know Krishna has all his friends in the spiritual world. Parents, famously Mother Yashoda and Nanda, the intimate parents. Finally, the famous gopis of Vrindavan. So here it says, Krishna bhakti dasabhavitamati, one's mind absorbed in Krishna bhakti rasa, which became the phrase Krishna consciousness. That's where it came from. Kriyatam yadikutobi labhyate. You should buy it. if you know, if you can find it in the marketplace, you should buy it. But you have to have the price. What's the price? Tatta laulyam api mulyam. Mulyam is the price. Laulyam is your greed. Now, there used to be a phrase from an old movie. I just remember the phrase. I don't remember anything about the movie. Greed is good. It was about the stock market or something. It's many of you. But this kind of greed is good, and it's essential. That is the price for you advancing, is your desire for it. How do you get that desire? How do you get that greed? By associating with the greedy. That's it's catching. You may perform lifetimes of pious activity, but you can't get either the bhakti or the greed from that. You can get it only by the process of devotion. So that's the answer to your question. And one thing I wanted to stress also is how Arjun, he says, well, okay, you're telling me this, but it's confirmed by Narada Muni and all of the, Vyas and all of these towering, intellects and bhakti and devotees. Now this is also important for us. Just like the advertisers, they want you to instill in you a desire for something, so that you want it and buy it, and they'll get your money, right? And what's the common way they do that? They get somebody famous who's popular, who you like, to endorse it, right? Just like some basketball player says, if he has a Nike shoe just made for him, so everyone says, oh, let me go buy that sneaker, like that, because there's a person behind it. And even in the Bhagavad-gītā, what do we have on the back? It says, oh, here's Ralph Waldo Emerson. I remember him. We studied him in 8th grade. I owed a magnificent day to the Bhagavad-gītā. It was the first books. It was as if an empire spoke to, like that. Henry David Thoreau, even had Mahatma Gandhi. We used to have something about Einstein, but I think they found out that was a made-up quote. But anyway, so Prabhupada believes in it. So did Bhaktisiddhanta and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and all these towering intellects and people, and so who am I to say, nah, I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me. Then you're cutting your life short, So that's what, this is a common thing. Others have accepted it. I respect them, therefore let me also be receptive to it. And that's what we got here. So, should we go on?
Hare Krishna.
Oh, where were you this morning, Vijay? We missed you.
Book distribution.
Okay, all right, you're excused. What's the question?
It's about the verse from the Brihannaradya Purana.
Harinama, Harinama?
Yes.
Okay.
My question is, why is it 3 times Nastyeva, 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 no other way, no other way, no other way, and not only 1 time?
Because that means that it's totally emphasized. If your kid is getting it and says, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. Right? Mothers know that. It's a way of emphasis. It's a standard way of emphasis in the Shastra that we have. There's other verses like that. Let me see. Well, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Mudha Mate, right? Worship Govinda. This is Sankaracharya. He's actually Lord Shiva. He's a bhakta, but he was deputed. He was ordered to preach Mayavad philosophy to stop the cow slaughter that was coming. It's a whole reason why. But finally, he's telling, I don't know, was he on his deathbed or something? But he's saying that when you're on your deathbed, you worship Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda. You're figuring out the grammar of this word and that word. It's not going to help you at the time of death. So it's a standard thing, and also you'll find verses that are repeated in the Bhagavatam. There's one verse that appears 5 times. I don't know if you know that, with a little variation. Something very. Arto yavidyamanopi sangskriti nandavartate na vidyamanopi. Dhyato vishayan dhyato vishayan. I forgot it. But what it says is that in truth, this material world isn't what it seems. It's not full of value. But as long as we are wrapped in desire for sense gratification, it will appear very real to us, and we'll have our attention on it. And that, and the importance of the association with pure devotees. This one I do remember. Tulayama lavenapina swagam nopanapavam bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kamatashisha. Tulayama means equal to. And lavenapi, it says even a half a second association with a Bhagavat Sangha Sangi. Yes, a Bhagavat Sangha Sangi, of someone who is an intimate associate of Bhagavān, who is always associated by being fully conscious of it. A half a second's association with him cannot be compared even to going to the heavenly planets or getting liberation, what to speak of any material, other gross material pleasure. And that appears 3 times in the Bhagavatam. So that's an indication of the importance of it and the emphasis. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama. Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatadanyata. And also that last line, or that Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, that was picked up by an intimate associate of Bhaktivinoda Thakur named Nilakanta Goswami, who wrote this Namastaka, where every last line of every verse ends with that Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. So I'll share that. If we have time at the end, I'll give it to you. Yes.
I just have a comment on the numbers. Is it possible that maybe there's sacred geometry and numbers in the verses? Like I have a friend in Italy who studies the octave. He does like an entire thesis and a lot of huge subjects. And we see that the mantra has octaves because it's 16, 8, and 8. And if we look at it, repeated 8 times. And so maybe the repeating of 3, the number 3, the number 5, they're also... So there's a big philosophy and...
Yeah, I've never explored that. But
I wonder
there's a whole discipline called Jyotish, which is of course that's astrology. Yeah. But there's a lot of calculations there in the numbers.
Right. So I wonder maybe the number 3 is emphasis, but maybe there's even more to it, or I don't know.
I can try and find out for you. I have very many sources. Very well. All right, let's go on a little bit because otherwise we're not going to make it out of the introduction. Okay. Are we at the bottom? Therefore, Bhagavad-gītā. Therefore, the Bhagavad-gītā should be taken up in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality, or even a very great personality. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so according to the statements of the Bhagavad-gītā, or the statements of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand the Bhagavad-gītā, we should at least theoretically accept Śrī Kṛṣṇa as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad-gītā. Unless one reads the Bhagavad-gītā in a submissive spirit, it is very difficult to understand the Bhagavad-gītā because it is a great mystery. Just what is the Bhagavad-gītā? The purpose of the Bhagavad-gītā is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man, and that includes women, every human being, is in difficulty in so many ways, as Arjuna also was in difficulty in having to fight the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna surrendered unto Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and consequently this Bhagavad-gītā was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us is full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. Actually, we are not meant to be threatened by non-existence. Our existence is eternal, but somehow or other we are put into asat. Asat refers to that which does not exist. Out of so many human beings who are suffering, there are a few who are actually inquiring about their position, as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and so on. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all suffering, then one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. In the Brahma Sutra, that's the Vedanta Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jigyasa, inquiry into Brahman. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Every activity of the human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the Absolute. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering or where they came from and where they should go after death are proper students for understanding the Bhagavad-gītā. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a student was Arjuna. So this nice book by Vaisheshika, right? 5 questions. The human life begins with the question, the Tattva Brahma Jigyasa. Jigyasa means inquiry. We're already inquiring. We're looking, where is food? Where is money? Where is my love? Where can I find this, So human life means to be that. Every life is that. The animals, they're much more rudimentary. They can't really have any philosophy or think. They're coming up. They're coming up to human life. So the question is, what are we going to be inquisitive about? You see? Everyone's asking questions. Where can I make some more money? It's too expensive to live, Where's the rent money this month, It's always like that. So that's the trap of material life, is that when you're only thinking of, the material, senses and how you can enjoy or how can you get safety and all these different things, then you don't have interest or time to inquire into these ultimate questions. But that is what human life is about. I always come back to this verse, and it's just a wonderful. Labdva sudurlabam idams bahusambhavante manusham artadam anityam apiha dira turnam yatetana patedana mityava nikshayasaya vishaya kalusarva taksyat. So, those who don't know the verse, probably I'll explain it. So, labda, you have attained. I think this is Krishna speaking, 11th canto of Uddhava, or the 9 Yogendras is one of them. So, labdva sudurlabam idam, very difficult to attain, rare, human form of life, after many, many births. Bahusambhavante manusham, same word, manusham, manus, like that. Now what's so special about human life? Artadam. Arta means, in this context, the ultimate value. Arta is always something of value. It often means money or wealth, you see. But it really means, what's really of value, you can find out in human life. But like all forms of life, it's a nityam, it's temporary. The clock is ticking, the sands are flowing. Artadam and nityam, so one has to be dhira. Very important word. It appears near the beginning of Krishna's teachings to Arjuna. Dhira means sober-minded, thoughtful, inquisitive about the ultimate questions. Who am I? Why am I suffering? Is there a way to end it? You see? So if one is like, so he says, what should you strive for? Anityamapiya dhira turnam yateta. And if you're intelligent, you will immediately, without wasting time, strive. And he says what to strive for. And then he said, as long as you're still alive, and he has this word anumrityu. Now anumrityu means death is right over your shoulder. No one knows exactly when he's going to die. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to Santa Ana's this time and everything will be burned down. Then, who thought that would happen? Did anyone think that, that's what this life is. So anumrityu. Now strive for, then here's the key word, nikshayasa. Not just the good, but the ultimate good in life, which is ending this cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. Birth, old age, disease, and death. This is called samsara. And we've been in that cycle since time immemorial. Who knows how long. But now, in this lifetime, we have a chance. We have the knowledge, we have the intelligence to understand it. We need to develop the faith, and we need to practice. So that's what it means to strive for the ultimate good. Because then he says, Vishayasa bhatar. In all other forms of life you've been enjoying the vishayas, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Where did it get you? Another birth, to suffer. And so many lifetimes in subhuman species where you can't inquire, all you can do is, where is safety, where is food? Where is sex? And when you get tired of that, where is sleep? Sleeping, eating, sleeping, mating. We don't want to, boil our life down to that. So this is what Prabhupada is enjoining us to do. Everything that he did, all these writings, he's trying to convince us to take up the process of devotional service and associate with devotees, read his books, and at least make some progress toward the ultimate goal of life. Now, what's so encouraging? This is really one of the most encouraging verses in the Gita. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyabhayon vidyate svopamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. He reiterates it in more detail in the 6th chapter. In this process of Krishna consciousness, there's no loss or diminution. What do you mean? When I die, everything is lost? No. Everything is lost. Materially is lost. Your body is lost. Your bank account is lost. All the relationships finished. But whatever credits you have in devotional service goes with you, because that's part of your soul and it's part of your subtle body, which doesn't die. So even a little bit, not even, it's more than a little bit. It's a tiny bit. Suolpam, very, very small amount of progress. Trayate will deliver you from the greatest danger, most fearful type of danger, which is lose the human form of life. Such a tragedy. You're assured of a human form of life, so that you can pick up. You did 5%, okay, you can start on your 6% the next lifetime. But then the question is, why prolong the agony? Why not try to strive really hard to go back to God in this life? Even if you don't make it, you'll have more in your bank credited by it, so maybe it'll be one more birth rather than stretch it out. This is the perspective of someone who accepts the A's of the ABCs. The Bhagavad-gītā itself is preliminary compared to Bhagavān, which is, and Prabhupada gave us everything in CC, is postgraduate. We have all of the text, great effort. He would get up in the middle of the night, he's managing the whole thing, he is traveling all over the world, somehow dictating these books. I had the great honor of helping to complete the Bhagavatam, which this wasn't possible. But Prabhupada's literary output is just remarkable, and it's all basically consistent with this one point. We're not these bodies, we're pure spirit souls. We are eternal servants of Krishna. The mission in human life is to try to develop that understanding of our who we really are through practice and association and study and all these things, and taste. The taste and nectar of Krishna consciousness. Isn't it, just imagine to have with you a source of happiness that you don't have to buy it. It's not something that you have to bring from outside. You already got it. It's Hare Krishna mantra. It's the source of all bliss. What the name Krishna, there's a verse in the CC describing what Krishna means. Krishna bhu vachatak sabdo nasta nirvati vachaka tayaraikam param brahma Krishna itya vidiyate. The syllable Krish, that's the source of the attraction of Krishna. All attraction, the beauty, the wealth, the friendship, the lila, everything about Krishna is attractive. We just have to, the name. And that's the pleasure that he's experiencing, we can also experience. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Rama, and what is Rama? Rama, Rameti, Rameti. So that's also explained, So that it's for free. We don't charge anything, And the prospect, we have the examples like the 6 Goswamis. And 3 of them came from tremendous wealth. Imagine if you had $1 billion, which is basically what they had in that time. And that, a whole boatload of gold. When Rupa Goswami cashed out, he was a finance minister, and he cashed out, and he was going to Vrindavan. From that kind of wealth, coming down to walking around without it, the simplest kind of clothes, loincloth, and you find, wash it. No abode. Talk about homeless. They lived under a tree, but they didn't even have their own tree. They would go to a different tree. What would you eat? You'd beg. You madhukari here and there, here and there. So you say, boy, that's depressing. I could never do like that. No, it wasn't depressing. Gopi bhavadasar matabla lahi kalola magno mahur. All of them were diving and swimming in this ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna, experiencing that at every moment. What did they need? They practically didn't need anything. They had beads, In other words, the source of our greatest pleasure is already within us. We just have to find it and learn how to access it. And then we can be happy even, in our old age. Oh, God, I can't do what I used to do. Well, I can still chant, and that's all you need. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm 77. I've been doing this for 52 years, and never gets boring because it's ever fresh. So. Please, and we'll go through this introduction. It's actually a wonderful contribution. Prabhupada, he dictated this before he came down to 22nd Avenue. He's up in this little room that Dr. Mishra gave him, just to cook his meals. He had to walk across town in Manhattan. But he had a reel-to-reel tape recorder. I don't know if you know what that is anymore. I had one of those big thing, with the reel. So he said, well, I don't. There's nobody to preach to yet, Basically, he had this little program going. But he spent hours, dictating this. You can imagine it's very long. And then he was robbed, which was actually a blessing because he said, all right, I don't want to stay up here anymore. He was then recruited to come downtown where things really started going. So the thief came. He took the tape recorder, which you could sell for $100 or something, and he left the tape. The tape was a real valuable thing. So we have this introduction, So Prabhupada went through so much, to give us this. And because he was tasting it and he had his order from a spiritual master, so we should accept it. All right, any discussion on any of this? All right, I'm gonna share with you a wonderful prayer, if I have permission from Panishri. This is called the Kevalashtaka. And we already know one line, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, from that first verse. And actually there were 100 verses that were composed. And these 8 were pulled out, maybe by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was a friend of it. So here's how it goes. It's very nice. Madaram Madarebyopi, Mangalebyopi Mangalam, Bhavanam Bhavanebyopi, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Of sweet things, it's the sweetest you will taste at any time. Of things that bring good fortune, it's the perfect paradigm. Of things that purify, it purifies most powerfully. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. Brahmastamba payantam, savamayamayam jagat, satyam satyam punak satyam. Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. From Brahma's realm atop the sky, down to the lowly grass, illusion reigns in Maya Devi's treacherous morass. The truth, the only truth, the name of Shri Hari. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. By the way, Hari is another name for Krishna, if you don't know. So then it says, Saguru sapita chapi samata bandhavopisa shikshayate sadar smartam hare nama eva kevalam. He's the guru, he's the father, he's the friend most true, and she's the real mother who most kindly teaches you to always chant and hear the holy name of Shri Hari. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. Now, here's my favorite verse in here. Nikshvase nahi vishvaso kadarudho bhavishyati kirtane mata balyad hare nama eva kevalam. Remember that our final breath may come at any time, no matter if we're old and sick or in our youthful prime. So young and old alike should chant the name incessantly. The holy name of Shri Hari is surely all that be. Hari sadavase tatra yatra bhagavatajana gayanti bhakti bhavena Hare Nama eva kevalam. Lord Śrī Hari forever dwells wherever devotees, whose hearts are fixed on Him and free of all impurities, uplift their voices high and sing His name in ecstasy. The holy name of Śrī Hari is surely all that be. Aho dukkam mahadukkam dukkha dukkataram vita kachatam vismatam ratna Hare Nama eva kevalam. Alas, what sorrow, what great pain, the worst calamity, for people to forget the holy name of Śrī Hari. Although the name's a priceless gem, mere broken glass they see. The holy name of Śrī Hari is surely all that be. Just fill your ears, just fill them with the name of Śrī Hari. Just chant the name with all sincerity. Just sing the name, to sing the holy name eternally. The holy name of Śrī Hari is surely all that be. Lord Śrī Hari forever dwells wherever devotees, whose hearts are fixed on Him and free of all impurities. Oh, I did that one already, I'm sorry. It makes this world appear like bits of straw upon the ground. Resplendently it reigns supreme divinity in sound. It's filled with transcendental bliss and peerless purity. The holy name of Śrī Hari is surely all that be. Now, because this was actually an excerpt or an extract from the longer poem, it doesn't have a 9th verse, which is called the Palashruti, which is what you get if you chant it regularly. That's an inducement to chant these verses. So I made one up. Inspired to glorify the holy name of Sri Hari, Sri Nilakanta wrote this hymn in Sanskrit poetry. I pray that those who hear this lowly version made by me will chant the holy name of Sri Hari in ecstasy. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. All right. You like that one? We have a little time left. How about another one? All right. Now, this one I'm going to chant again. I did it the other night. Oh, no, I did it on the morning class, in Monday morning, day after Nityananda's appearance day. And Giridhari Priya, he was listening to the class online as he drove back. You heard about this? And then he wrote me a letter and said, that's a miracle. Because the subject of the verse, I'll tell you. So the verse is very sweet. It's by Rupa Goswami. It's included in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindha. And just listen to the sound. Kranata kanaka kinkani kalapam smitamokam hundranasaka gramuktam karatatanamani tapindamangre tanayamaveshananananda patni. See that? Even if you don't know the meaning, it's pleasurable. If you do know the meaning, it's really blissful. So what is it described? I didn't put it into a poem yet. Kwanata kanaka kinkani kalapam. So this is a verse describing little baby Krishna, like maybe 6 months old or something. He's crawling on the ground toward his mother, or on the floor toward his mother. So all he's got is these golden waist belts that he's wearing. He's got a nice pearl, beautiful pearl, affixed to his nose, and that's it. And then he's carrying some butter. So Kwanata Kanaka Kinkani means that his golden waist bells are tinkling very sweetly as he crawls. Okay, Kwanata Kanaka Kinkani Kalapam. Smitamukam, smiling face. He's got a smile, a little baby smile on his face. Ujjvala Nasikagram, an effulgent pearl is affixed to his nose, you see. And in his hand, Karadutta Navanita Pindam, he's holding a ball of fresh butter, a fresh butter ball in his hand. And he's crawling toward his mother. Karadutta Navanita Pindam Agre, in front of her, he appears before her. Agre, I'm trying to think about it. Karadutta Navanita Pindam Agre, Tanayam Aveksha Nananda Patni. And when she sees her son, Tanayam Aveksha, Nananda Patni. So Nananda is a Sanskrit word that has an English equivalent that nobody knows. But I'm trying to popularize this word in ISKCON. We need this word. It's, the word? You can use it in your next class. Ecstasize. It means to go into ecstasy or to put someone else in ecstasy. So we need that word. You can write it about 100 times to the CC. So she is ecstacized. She's just so happy to see a little child with that butter. He's smiling at her. You can imagine, That's the Vatsalya Ras described. One verse describing it. So he's listening to the class. He hears that. He says, "Oh my God! I for the first time, I actually affixed a pearl to Krishna's Giridhari's face." And he had a little photograph of it. I got it on my phone. What a miracle! Krishna's playing a joke, So you see that all the time. Okay, now we'll adjourn and we'll have a nice kirtan if you would like to see Giridhari.